was a very dark Victorian tale. And that's what I fell in love with, because H.G. was taking a pop at invasion. And in that era, you know, even the British Empire was expanding its tentacles of power. Excuse me. So those Martians with their tentacles was his representation of invasion. Add to that the sub-themes, which I also fell in love with, which was built around faith, hope, and love, that it's about life, it's not about death.
And terror.
And terror, for sure. You're quite right. I mean, the Martians bring with them incredible machines and weapons, some of which you would associate with today in the modern world. So he had quite an eye for the future, but it came from his writing. So my inspiration was what I read. And the opening chapter is called The Eve of the War. And it opens every tour that we do. It opens the original double album. And it read to me from a chapter point of view. His chapter 1 was sort of like an overture. Something was going to happen. He didn't give away too much, and you want to read on. And for me, that was the inspiration for composing my opening piece as like an overture called The Eve of the War.
When you've been talking with Brian Cox, who has a really big brain when it comes to science.
Big.
Huge, like
super
universally.
Big. To college to get a journalism degree, investigative journalism. I wanted to solve all the, you know, the cold cases that were out there, and I got a 2-year degree in college, and then realized, hold on, music was my greater passion, and I switched to music. So Brian and I had music and the subject of life on Mars to talk about, and I'm coming from, you know, one point of view as a musician. I'd like the questions you're asking me. What motivated me from H.G. Wells's novel? I'm not looking at it from a scientific point of view. And he is sort of the complete opposite.
Have you, I'm tempted to ask, have you had a little jamming session with him? Have you played a little music together?
No, we didn't get that chance. Funnily enough, I was thinking there was a whole day of shooting and interviews and things to make this YouTube special. But there wasn't an opportunity. But he's coming along with Dave Rowntree, who was part of this little triumvirate, a musician, drummer from Blur. But he's also an astronomer, and he's run for political office. And I really am feeling, whoa, these guys are super wide with their brains, and I'm still fighting Martians.
Where did you get to when it came to the debate, is there life on Mars?
He had a very, Brian particularly, had a very analytical, and it's called the power of the power of pedal notes in orchestration, which is the heart of the notes that I wrote for The Eve of the War. It's a common note, no matter how the chords change, and it creates a tension in a nice way.
Can I say to you, Jeff, one of the conversations that's going on at the moment about AI and music, is I mean, are you worried that somebody somewhere or a machine somewhere is just listening, looking, exploring your music and is just going to come up with another one like yours?
I think, you know, you can't ignore what's going on. And, you know, copyright infringement is not a new thing. This seems to be that, you know, in spades.
Do you feel helpless? Do you think it's inevitable? I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think until there are laws that really are defined as to what AI can and cannot do, yes, why wouldn't one be worried? If you create something, your lifeblood, your earnings come from whether something has success. And if you get that success, you are hoping nobody's going to steal it and nick it from you without proper remuneration. So I'm with anybody that has that view of making sure AI is a protected species for us, the creators, and anybody else whose world is impacted.
Good news for you is you're doing the tour, and people will put their bums on seats and they can watch it, and it's real.
And they are. I mean, this is, as I said, you know, we started 2006, and here I am again in Manchester, thrilled again to be here, and looking forward to this. It's going into Europe as well, and it's absolutely exciting.
Very good to see you here this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Should say Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds musical tour, called The Spirit of Man, begins next month around the